Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand, hand, hand. Oh, I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn.
Hello, 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 and welcome into Polished. My name is Jen Lynn, UNBN, which stands for Uniqua New Beauty Norm, and I'm on a mission to just make business beautiful, make women beautiful, and men beautiful, and the world beautiful, beautifully evolved, beautifully heart-centered, human-centric, for the people, by the people, communal, collaborative. And that's it, right? So I'm so excited to have all of you all here. For those of you that have never been to Polished before, I will have two guests coming up, two fabulous guests, and we'll get to those in just a minute. And for those of you that are returning, welcome and thank you for returning. For those of you that are on the replay, hello and welcome. Don't forget to leave a comment because I'll come back and I will play with you. If you ask, I might come on and watch it with you live, right? So just never be afraid to ask for anything from me, because the worst thing that can happen is that I say no. And I don't really say no to much. So, oh my gosh, it's Friday. There's so much going on. I have to say this before I forget that shortly after this is Soul Man Live, and it's Aaron Gibson, and it's his 2-year anniversary. So I want to see some love out in the comments. I'm going to clap right now. I'm sending you so much love, bro. I'm so excited for you, so proud of and for you. It's simply just amazing. And I cannot wait to see where you are in another 2 years, because the sky's the limit and you own it. And I just love that so much. And everything that you do is so important and it's so needed. And giving I saw some hearts over there out of the corner of my eye. So thank you for giving that love. And then today is a special announcement, but we're going to wait to the end for that. Okay. So my guests today are in a collaboration. One is an editor, one is an author. And I want to speak about the author first. Her name is Leslie Flowers. If you all are not linked with Leslie Flowers, please remedy that. Leslie founded her company, Leslie Flowers Enterprises, in 2007 with this vision that she could devote her years of studies and provide those willing to learn to think in another way, right? Because she has the ability to articulate complex things in a very, very simple, beautiful way. And to be a model and hold the character of happiness, health, and wealth, and be a woman that people would choose to emulate. Oh, God, it gets me because she is that woman. And I want to take a moment and just really rain some gratitude and thanks to her accomplishments before I bring her up. In 2008 to 2013, she was a founding board member of growandshare.org. In 2008, she has an LSC certified business consultant and coach with life success. From 2008 to present, she's had 20,000 hours of studies and teaching. No, you didn't hear that wrong. 20,000 hours. 2008 to 2024, 12-week hybrid studies, 500 clients, and completed goals documented, right? She's a certified speaker. She has published 12 books. She, from 2010 and 2011, was Triangle Women Extraordinary Business Leader Media. 2011-2013, Director of Social Media Women's Power Network. 2011, Triangle Mover and Shaker Business Leader Media. In 2011, founding member Fern Professionals Rayleigh. In 2013, Director of Family Coaching People Builders LLC, which is a nonprofit. Leslie Flowers, I'm going to bring you up. And I'm going to also bring up our second guest, which is Nick, and which is also an extraordinary, extraordinary woman. But I know that we're here to really heavily spotlight Leslie. So I want you all to throw me some more love, throw me some more hearts for this extraordinary woman that I have had the pleasure of being a co-author with. That when I read her story, it brought me to tears. To have the real reality of her own words solidify part of her soul story that my soul knew from the moment that I met her. So come up, Miss Leslie Flowers and Nick. I'm bringing you up to welcome both of you to Polished. How are you both doing today?
Thank you. Very well. Thank you. Glad to be here. Excited to see you.
I'm excited to have
Yes,
you.
same.
So,
Thanks so much
Nick,
for having us.
of course, of course. I do want you to share just a little bit of your own, tell everybody just a little bit about yourself, Leslie, in your own words, and then Nick, tell everybody a little bit about yourself in your own words as well.
Well, all of those things that you mentioned, I've been on the planet a long time. And so my feet have been moving the whole time.
Yeah.
So while sometimes it seems like a lot, if you live as long as I do, you'll have the same, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I grew up in Massachusetts and was born in New York. And at about 13, our family moved to North Carolina, where my father was an engineer. And interestingly, that was the time that Adolf Eichmann was going through trials. It was like in the 61, 62.
Mm.
And we were a Jewish family in Winston-Salem, which was a very small, rather bigoted
Yeah,
town.
I can
So
imagine.
my brother and sister would come home crying every day because the children were mocking them, just as their parents were repeating that. Anyway, then my dad got a job out in Northern California, and I finished high school in Palo Alto and went to San Francisco State, where I majored in drama and humanities. And I was there during the whole Vietnam era. In fact, I in 1967 I joined a charter airline just across the bay in Oakland, and for 6 months did two tours bringing U.S. troops into and out of Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so it was just a lot of fun. Then I met my husband in San Francisco. He was from North Carolina. We got married, moved back here, had two children. Now I have four grandchildren, and that's it.
I love it. And you told part of your story in that Vietnam era of flying back and forth. And one of the routes that you had taken when you were picking soldiers up, and it was very powerful. So I will not share any of that, but I will tell you all that please go on and find Leslie and get all of her books because they're all phenomenal. But we are here today talking about a very special book, and that is Errata, which is this amazing, amazing sci-fi. There's another word? It's kind of swimming around my head, but I'll remember it in a minute. It's just this beautiful, super fun little place. I love being transported, and that is something that your writing does. And what you've got is you read it and you recorded it, and that makes it even more phenomenal, especially for someone like someone that knows you. I think that really just pulls in. I can kind of close my eyes and then just kind of drift off almost meditatively while listening to you, and have the scenes all really unfold, because it's like reading blindfolded, right? When you don't have to pay attention to the words, your mind gets to create what is the most resonant for you. And I think that is just amazing, and I thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nick, what about you? Tell me a little bit about you, and tell me a little bit about your experience working with Leslie, and not just going on this media tour, but just in general. What is listening to it for you like? I know, right, from reading it to listening to it, what's the difference for you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. And I actually love the way you just mentioned if you're not reading it and the words aren't swimming before your eyes, it's a completely different experience.
Mhm.
And, that's what I want people to take away from this. Um, and just from the different book formatting, a lot of times people would read an ebook on a Kindle or on a cell phone, and a paperback feel is very different. You know,
Yeah.
the texture of the pages between your hands, some dog ear, some don't dog ear, some hate to see the creases in the book. But the audiobook is just another layer. And even though I read Errata last year and I couldn't put it down, I was sitting next to the pool in the summertime. I read the entire book in 3 hours. Here it
Yeah.
is. I was pissed when it was done. I literally sent this woman a text message and I said, "Are you for real?
I
Like,
know.
I I need to know what is happening after the last page. You can't leave me there."
But she did, didn't
She
she?
did, she did. And when the audiobook came out and I listened to it, I was just like you say, transported into not just Errata, but into her
Yes.
vision of Errata. Because
Hmm.
when you read here, you have I visualize a lot. So I,
Yes.
I love reading. And her writing is very descriptive.
Yeah.
She pulls in things like touch, things like
Yeah.
smell, things like the aura. So when you have a writer that has that type of talent, that when you read it, you are transported somewhere else, even though your butt's planted on the couch. Now, when you hear her narrate it in her own voice, the inflections, the intonations, the cadence of her voice is there just in the expression of the imaginative world that she lived in when she wrote this.
Hmm.
There really is no comparing the experience of reading versus listening.
Yeah.
One is not better than the other, it's just
Just
different.
different. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like watching that favorite movie. Like I love 300 with Sparta, and I've watched
Oh
it
my
like
God.
a hundred times. And
Yes.
it's that book that when you just want that feel good moment, it's a quick read. I could pick it up. I could be done with it in a week. I just want to clear my mind, and I say escape to Errata because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I need to just escape reality for a moment.
Yeah.
So even though Leslie had already had the book published as a number one international bestseller, but hired guiding brilliant writers to run the promotion on the audiobook. Uh, Everything that came before just brought forward more of a foundation to work with in order to be able to market the audiobook in somewhat of a different way, right?
Yeah.
With the basis of the story still there. So I think I
Yeah.
went backwards, but my name's Nick. I'm the founder of Guiding Brilliant Writers. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about storytelling. The brilliance is not in the writing. Leslie herself is an accomplished writer. She's written 12. That tells you that over time, skills can be built, skills can be developed, skills can come to a point of almost breathlessness when you read the person's work.
Hmm.
And so the guiding is in the guiding the writers in your story development. The brilliance is your story.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love that.
None of us has the same story. None of us ever will. We can't. It's impossible. We all walk
Yeah.
our different journeys. Um, so that's where the brilliance is. But that name really came from the fact that I'm bipolar and I dubbed myself the gifted bipolar writer. And I wanted to stay within that GBW. So, I just took the gifted bipolar writer and made it guiding brilliant writers, if
It's
you will.
it's it's brilliant is what it is. It really is brilliant. And on a marketing business level, it is a genius decision to make. And this is, on on a branding level, when we talk about keeping things the same or having a thread that you pull through no matter how you evolve, that's what we're talking about. And it really is a uh, for me, I'm like, oh, yes, I love that for you. And I love that it was something that you pulled through, and it gets me excited because it's something that's what I'm, passionate about. And to see that just that one little thread is enough to pull through and to not have the brain interject from the audience and get confused or want to be like, but that's not right. You changed, right? So you're able to evolve. People get confused or they're told that you have to be this one thing, and that is so not true. Okay, so let's wrap back around. First of all, I have to say, agree that 300 is probably it is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is Sparta. I love it. And I also want to say, being on the subject of the movie, I mean, could it be possible that errata might be a movie one day? Because I think that would be so amazing. And in the interim, because I know that takes a little bit of time, is there another book, right?
Don't
Is there
shake
a
my head anymore.
continuation?
It's going to fly off the back
Yeah.
of my neck. I couldn't agree more that errata needs to be
A
a,
movie,
a movie,
a
a
series.
series,
Yes.
something. And I'm going to let Leslie take it from here just because.
Yes, it will. That's the idea. That's the visualization.
Okay.
That's the dream. That's the manifestation.
Yes.
That this book, and this is the right time for this book, because it's all about going back to virtues and values and love,
Yeah.
which we seem to be deplete of.
Mm,
And it. I really think that it's the visualization
mhm.
and your creative imagination that's developing as you're reading and listening. And really, most of us, our imagination was squelched about first or second grade when I heard Leslie stop daydreaming and pay attention to the lesson.
Yeah.
So it's almost like our whole lives, the creative imagination has been like a frozen faucet, pretty
Mm,
much unused. And now the work that I do helps, and it develops your imagination as the ice melts, and
yes.
then you can come right back fully into the imagination when you were a kid, when I was looking out the window daydreaming.
Yeah. I love that. There's a lot of course to say around the world of AI and its use, and making sure that it's there's just a lot there. But this is what I want to say about it. I believe that we are in the age of imagination. And AI's role in that partially is to take over those tasks that are simple, but simple or not, they are using your brain power, and they're using that prefrontal cortex and they're draining it. When we can conserve that energy and use it in another way, especially when we're moving through consciously and intentionally, we have brain power to lean into that world of imagination and true innovation. There is a precipice where all things are possible, and intention, visualization, right? Those things get you there to where you really are able to create these worlds that are transformative and transportive, right? Of And so I think that that is where we're at, and I think as we see systems crumbling around us, right? It's We are called to create different systems, right? Different frameworks, different systems. And I think that it absolutely comes down to bringing able to move that. So, how do you move it, right? From visualization into reality? What's your process for that?
Well, that's such a good question. How do you move it into reality? Okay, so really, it's one of the universal laws. There's actually a process, and that's the work that I've been studying, is how can we replicate the things we already do that we may not have distinguished that we're doing it. For example, children manifest much more quickly than we do, right? And because their level of fear is lesser and their drive is strong. So they don't care if they fall or they get hurt, they're going to get right back up. But as we go through life, and we've had our downs as well as our ups, we're more tentative.
Yeah.
So there is a way to communicate with God or the universe or spirit, Buddha, Krishna, it doesn't matter. It's one. If we can agree that at least that there's one universal life force that is omnipresent and it's all love.
Yes.
And right and it's always for us to do better. So
Right.
we are co-creators. So the ideas that we get are not in our head, they circulate in the ether. And the universe connects with you and me when we're visualizing and senses the vibration. Because, see, mind and thinking is a cellular
Mm-hmm.
activity. And so they've proven this
Mm-hmm.
already, that what you think the most and how you're feeling is going to cause your results, right? And so if it's positive, then you'll get positive results. If it's negative, you get negative results. So
Right.
for the book, when I first visualized the outline 25 years ago, I was in love. And love is one of the highest vibrations. And I was in love to cover pain.
Yes.
Okay, so was it real love? I don't know, probably not.
It's a
Maybe
form of, I think.
what?
I think that it's a form of, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
all is love, so it's a form of.
Yes, I love that. It's a form of love, and but there's a very high vibration. So
Yes.
in my drives to the chocolate company all those years ago, it was flat and straight. Um, I don't
Mm.
know that I did have auto, whatever you call it, cruise control,
Oh yeah, cruise control.
but there were no audiobooks and the
Mm.
radio stunk. So I was so in love. I spent a lot of time thinking about
Yeah.
how I felt and what it was like. And then all of a sudden, on one of those trips, this happened every weekend for months. I started to visualize this special place for he and I.
Mm,
Right. And that was all about the foundation of the book. There was no story. All there was the background, the foundation, the temperature, the topography, how the planet was formed, how the spirits inhabited it, all those things. And every week I'd come up with another. So it ended up with 12 episodes, but I put it away because I was not ready to write this book. But it was
mhm.
through visualization. So what happens actually is over time in space consistent intervals, if you feed the universe through imagination and intuition, this high amplitude of vibration, that's the way we say, this is what I want. And how
Yes.
it gets to you will be based on the frequency, the
Mhm.
amplitude of vibration of that you keep. So you always want to think about what you want, that it feels good, and keep going there.
Yeah.
Keep visualizing. So for me, I've learned that the visualization is the DNA
Mhm.
manifestation. Not unlike a physical seed, the acorn is example. What's in the acorn? Not a little oak tree, but the DNA once it's planted that will draw to it. So, the only difference between a physical seed and ideas, which are spiritual seeds, is the exact moment you'll achieve it. We
Yeah.
can calculate with the physical seed by when, depending on the climate, et cetera, and where you live.
Right.
But it's one of the universal laws that determines by when you will get that thing. Now, for me, it was a kind of a therapy
Yeah. Oh,
to,
yeah.
right? And so I just put it away for 22 years. I was not ready to write a story. I didn't have any interest in it. But then all of a sudden, the idea came back to me, and I had 22 years of values, virtues, leadership. I was ready to write the story.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I asked Dennis Pitoko, who had, if I wrote an episode from that outline every week, would he publish it every week? And he did.
I love
So
that.
the episodes came out. So really, how it works is through the discipline and persistence, taking action and thinking about it already existing, because it
Yes.
actually does already exist, just because we don't know how or why yet that works, but it
Right.
does. That we actually have communication with the universe, and visualization is the key, right?
Yes.
That's the key. It's the DNA, like what's in the acorn.
Yeah. I love it. I love the quantum fifth dimension of living. It's all encapsulated in ritual and ceremony, all as well, right? That
Oh,
just the actions that you're carrying out unlock that in within your DNA for your cells to release the endorphins, the hormones, what it is that needs to be released, right? Um, to have a co creation space
yes.
in managing what your frequency is, what your vibration is, and knowing when it's in another density is how I talk about it. Is joy and love, they feel light, and then some things feel more dense and they're just a little bit harder, they take more effort, right,
Mhm. Mhm.
to transmute or move through. So I really love that. And I do think that now is just this very wonderful time for an evolutionary leaps. And so my next question for you is from that place, why is it, do you think, the best time for the fantasy world exemplifying those virtues, values, and that I think you said before, soul kissing love?
That's
Oh,
right. Why is it the right time? because
Yeah.
the world is a mess right now. I mean, it's very easy. You have clients. You have to keep up with this for your clients. It's not that you have to bathe yourself in the negativity, but it affects people all over the world.
Yeah.
Now, I see errata as the fifth dimension, that it is not a place that you go to. You do go there, but you go there in your mind
Yeah.
using visualization,
Yes.
and it will drive up your cellular vibration to just feel good. So
Mhm.
that's why, because when things get too crazy, just like Nick said, she listens to it while she's cooking,
Yeah.
right? And Sandra said she was listening to the audiobook at the airport, right, waiting for the plane, or then at her son's soccer game. So, thank you. That's so lovely. So it's really, as Carolyn said, it's not big steps. It's small steps. You
Yes.
can go anywhere taking baby steps as long as you don't as long as you don't stop moving.
Yeah.
Right, so
Yes.
just keep, but really all you need is a couple of tasks each week to take you to the goal. Now, I gave myself 12 weeks to write this.
Mm.
Remember, I had the foundation, so all I had to do was a
Right.
12-episode storyboard, but I still had to write a story,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I didn't spend much time writing it. I gave myself the deadline of one episode a week. But it really didn't take that long to write it each week because I was in love with it. I couldn't
Right.
wait to do it.
Oh.
So these things don't need a lot of time. What they need is devotion.
Ooh, I love that word.
That's what they need, so that fear doesn't interrupt, because
Right.
it is a big interrupter. So if you're devoted, and that that there's something for people that'll make their lives better, and you're the one to do it, and that's why I wrote it finally. And like I
I
said,
love.
I started with just a visualization to keep myself from being bored, right?
Yeah.
It's so boring driving 4 hours up and back every week,
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
and then eating
Um,
chocolate,
and I love the the testimony too of that if you just keep swimming, right?
Hello, Dory.
Everything unfolds. It really does. And if we can, and I love that you use the word devoted. And being a wordsmith yourself, Nick, I want to hear from you a little bit about, because I have a feeling that that resonates too. That word devoted versus discipline, and you need discipline as well, but there's such a difference when being disciplined and being devoted to something. When I know that you're a devoted person as well, so I'd love to hear from you about that.
I'm just sitting back enjoying the conversation. I completely agree with never be the smartest person in the room. And when I'm around you two, individually, but now I'm around you two together, um, it's lovely to see the, um, the level of frequency and the connection. I know Leslie very well. I know you very well, but more on a separate type of line, right? And a lot of what you share is similar, but delivered differently, but
Mhm,
similar. And
mhm, mhm.
uh, everything you each say always resonates with me and always feels applicable to my journey. And I almost feel that Leslie and I met at the time we needed to meet. Her
Mm.
having lived her experiences and her being able to offer me advice and guidance, for example. But it's everything that she speaks to that is manifesting in my life. So when I start to say things like, oh, I'm so lucky, she reframes me. No. you have worked for this. You have put this in for 2 years. You work 2 full-time jobs. And she tells me now I'm picking the low-hanging fruit because I'm going,
Yes.
wow, I'm 2 months in and so much is coming at me.
Mhm.
And I am not necessarily doing any sort of major marketing, right? A
Mhm.
lot is just
Don't have
coming my way. People are just putting me in touch with people, in touch with people, in touch with people. And, and I remember when I did the trilogy last year, she kept telling me, you are bat crazy. I
to.
cannot believe you have taken on this project with 35 other co-authors and
Yes.
myself. She said, do you know what you just took on? 36 people, 3 books, you have a full-time job.
Yes.
And of course, it took 6 months and 100 hours that I didn't expect, but I got through it with quite a bit of leaning here and there on
Yeah.
both of you. And, so she makes me realize that there's no such thing as luck. Okay.
That's right.
I I
That's
put this into motion, even if I didn't realize at the time that that is what I was
right.
doing. And when I think of that word devotion, um, so when I was doing towards the end of the trilogy and the start of A Message to My Family, I was tired mentally.
Yes.
Because one ran into the other. That was never to be the intention. And I picked up on this song by a group that I love called The Score. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I learned how to sing every single word of I Am Walking the Tightrope for You. And I
Mm.
would sing that on the way to work and on the way home, at home. And in my mind,
Love it.
that tightrope that I was walking was for all my co-authors. That was kind of what I don't really know how to say it. I don't think I ever actually shared this. But I listening to that song, I would get very emotional and
Yeah.
I would start singing that I am walking the tightrope for you. And in my mind, it
Mhm.
was just that sometimes you get so far above the ground that people look like little specks. And it is a tightrope. I could fall at any moment. And the dreams of so many people will come crashing down with me. It's quite a responsibility, actually.
Yeah.
Um, but there comes that word devotion. I think with that word devotion, it becomes almost less of a responsibility and a wanting to, to pass the torch to each person,
Yes.
that you hold this candle. And I light Leslie's, and Leslie's lights Jenelyn's, and Jenelyn lights, and then before you
Yeah.
know it, we have a group of 36 lights, and the whole sky's lit up. And
Yeah.
and and that's how I felt. And when she said to me, Nick, what were some of the things that pulled you through this? I saw the end. People didn't realize this. In my
Yeah.
mind, I kept seeing the end. I kept
Yeah.
seeing my 3 books on Amazon in the
Yeah.
number 1 spot. I kept seeing smiling faces. I kept, seeing me telling everyone, you're an international bestseller.
Summer.
And
Yes.
on the handful of days that I couldn't bring myself to the end visualization, I reminded myself which part in the process I was and
Yes.
which part in the process I was 2 months ago,
Right.
right? Because that
Yes.
helped me to say, well, 2 months ago you didn't know that you would be here, but look, you're
Right.
actually here right now.
Yes.
And the beauty is that, like Leslie says, you just keep moving. My mom's name was Leslie. And
Yeah.
one of my mom's favorite things to say to me is, child, baby steps, Nick, just baby
Mm.
steps.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's something that Leslie continues to make me feel that my mom always imparted to me of how proud she was of me because
Yes.
she knew I was a fighter. And I
Yeah.
think that Leslie sees and continues to um, nurture that in me, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so
I love that. And I think that it's a beautiful demonstration of all that we've talked about, of devotion, of quantum love, of agape love, of soul kissing love. And I one reason that I wanted that that I read Leslie's um, accolades is because sometimes, right? Um, I live very close to Dallas, Texas. And because I'm close to Dallas, I don't really think about Dallas being anything other than Dallas. And you are in New York, and it's kind of the same way. But for other people around the world, they are some of the most highly sought cities in the world. They have and house some of the best doctors in the world, some of the best education opportunities in the world, right? And but when we are in those spaces, sometimes we forget. And it's so important for us to remember. And I keep what I call a brag journal, right? Where and it's for those days that if I begin to lose vision or if I begin to disconnect from it for whatever reason that may be, it is something that I can physically, tangibly, in matter, in 3D matter, pick up, look, feel, taste. I can lick it if I want to, though I don't ever suggest licking ink, right? That's just gross. But the point is you can involve all of your senses.
That's right.
And I made Leslie laugh, and I mean kudos for that, right? And I love it. So
That's
I
actually called five sensorizing. And
yes,
I learned that from Mary Mannon Morrissey. That's
yes,
one of the techniques. So I
mhm.
think the important thing that Nick said here, and apologies for
No,
interrupting, was is that visualizing as though it's already
but yes,
yours because it spikes your vibration, because it's much more exciting
absolutely,
to say, I have $100,000 to open an orphanage rather
yes,
than right and
I need
be in the orphanage, right, where
yes,
you can smell the wood and all, and
yes,
so it spikes your mind, mind, the graphic images, the visual images that we bring up have the vibration tied to them. So every time
yes,
you visualize, it spikes your cellular vibration. That's a message to the universe. Hey, I'm
yep.
still going.
Still going. Yes.
Here I
Yes.
am.
This is still what I want, right? And because when you're clear, then the universe is always just answering your vibration.
That's right.
So when you're experiencing a lot of chaos, there's something chaotic going on within you. And it is that simple. It gets to be that simple. It doesn't mean that there are not resilience involved, that there's not a lot of grit that you've got to dig down deep into. It doesn't mean that you're not going to experience that um, overflow and drought, right? Because when you are putting that devotion into something for a long amount of time, you're going to experience drought. You are pouring everything that you have, and you're supposed to. You're supposed to, so that you can be refilled with something else. When you get to that finish line of this project into that, however it is, you always need to be moving what's within your wineskin, right? As is said. And I think that um, for me, like when I do my summits at the end of the year and I make them longer every year and I do more speakers every year and people are doing the same thing, like, you are crazy. Why are you doing that? First, because I love it. And I love being able to provide that level of information and that level of community all at once for people, especially at the end of the year. It's such an important time of the season. And the other reason is for me also to be able to stretch myself. I have one breakdown every single time. And depending on when I have that breakdown is how I decide next time how many more days I'm going to add, how many more speakers I'm going to add. Like I use that work also just as much for me to grow and stretch myself in my own capacity and my own, ability to hold and manifest, and how many different projects can you stretch out into. And I vision myself all the time. I am not one person, right? And neither are you. You're not one person. And we have community that we lean into. And that's part of that too, I think. So
Mhm.
I want to, Leslie, who for you do you lean into? Who do you lean into when you were creating errata? And where did the name errata come from? How'd that come to you?
Okay, so there was a time during those 20 years or 22 years that I got very involved and connected with a group of Hare Krishnas. Okay, Hare
Mm,
Krishna community. Now, these are not the ones that jump around at the airport in orange gauze. Okay, this
yeah.
is a very spiritual community. In fact, way ahead of Western civilization, as far as I'm concerned. And I ate with them every weekend, and I met their gurus, and I
Mm,
learned to do the candle dance, and I learned to do an offering and to pray when
mm,
you're cooking. So there's just this whole
yes.
world that you wouldn't even know existed. Now, everybody had a special name given to them if you're a Hare Krishna from your guru.
Yeah.
And there are gurus that have thousands of followers. And I actually got to meet one, which was interesting because, um, anyway, it was interesting. So the male side of God is Krishna.
Mm, mm,
The female side is Radharani. And
mm.
everybody had a sort of a nickname or a pet name or a name given to them by the guru. So I dubbed myself Radha,
Okay.
right? Which is Radha for Radharani. Now there were lots of these are symbols of
Hmm.
God. These are not gods, right?
Right.
These are the symbols, and there are many gods in Krishna consciousness. There's gods of money and love,
Yes.
etc. So that is how I was really involved in that. And it was very spiritual. The book is very spiritual,
Yes.
based on the virtues and values of the spirits in the universe. These were the epitome of people that lived, or spirits that lived by virtues. And so I did a lot of studying on what are virtues, why do people
Mhm.
like them?
Yeah.
And so that's where errata came from.
Mm.
And the initial drawings 25 years ago were done by an English artist who I never met but connected with through an art dealer. And
Mm.
there are sketches that you haven't seen from the original book because there's a lot of AI and different stuff that we use now.
Yeah.
And I was able to finally purchase the original oil painting of Lee and Van and the bear on errata that was painted from the story. So I never met him. I never talked
Wow.
to him, but he had all the material. And from that, he drew
Yeah.
and painted at least a dozen drawings. The Urn of Life is
Oh, I
one of
love
his, right? And there are many that there are in the book. There are a few pictures that he created, right, that are in there. But so yeah, that's it. Errata. It was my nickname, Radharani.
I love it. I love it. Is there any chance that you'll share those images with the rest of the world? Because I'm like, oh my God, I have to see that. How?
I, yeah, I'm absolutely. In fact, he told me because I paid him to do this, and he
Yes.
told me I checked with him that I could use those pictures as long as I wasn't selling them as my own or marketing them to make money. So, of course, absolutely,
Oh
they're
gosh.
beautiful. They're just
I want
they're
it.
they're just gorgeous. The Yeah, I can show you.
I love that so much. And what about you, Nick? Because I saw you do the whole little light up thing too about, oh my gosh, really? Because
Yes.
I want to see them. Have
I
you
want
seen
to see
them?
them. We need to have like a live exhibition. I mean, it would be
Yes.
virtual,
And
but
we
Yeah.
can.
I
Ooh.
think it would be just absolutely. And if this can be done,
Yes.
shortly before the release of the second book,
Ooh, I
my
can guarantee
goodness,
that.
I would love, love, love to be able to see this. It
God.
brings so much
Yes.
of the imagination, um, uh, toe to toe with the reality,
I
because the story, um, while it developed in her imagination, fed off of a reality.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and that's incredible because this was not, hey, let me sit down and come up with some off the wall story that's never been told before.
Yeah.
That which sci-fi, okay,
Yeah.
go
Yes.
where no man ever gone before. but
Yes.
but she went
Black one
somewhere,
too.
but with feet on the ground, so it's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I kind of now I'm really intrigued to
Yeah.
see this. So
I
Well, one thing I didn't finish telling you because you asked me who I lean into.
yes. Yes.
So I'm a fire sign, a Sagittarius, if you follow any of that. I have a very, very small, close
Yeah.
group, right? Other than my family, there are three people in this world. When anything goes wrong, they always listen for my greatness. It doesn't matter what happens, they're always looking for me to be great, as I am with them.
Yeah.
So I learned this about accountability and mastermind a long time ago. You don't do it alone, but you also want to be really careful about sharing your ideas with people who
Mm.
do not understand what you're up to.
Yes.
There are naysayers, aren't there, Jen Lynn? There are
Yes.
naysayers, and see, in the beginning, you're not even sure that you can do this. I mean, you're
Yeah.
doing it, but none of the fear has stopped you yet to say, "Well, Leslie, you've never written a fiction, not
Right.
like this." And so the naysayers, if you start sharing it, their level of awareness is not where you are. And I call these different thought frequencies, which you call them
Yes.
different densities. Okay.
Yeah.
So they haven't gotten, in many instances, to where you are to understand what you're doing. So it's
Right.
really important when you start, because it's new and because you haven't done it, it's really easy for someone to come in and remind you how many
Okay.
times you failed. And
Yeah.
that's when fear comes in and goes, "Oh my God, she's absolutely right."
Mhm.
That's when you have to remind yourself why you started in the beginning. So
Yes.
it's really important, until you start seeing the signs, people showing up like Nick is seeing now.
Right.
This is all, she's the source of that. She's
Yes.
cause in the matter, and what she wants was already moving toward her. So she's now getting everything that she's already
Right.
created.
Yeah.
So, until you start to realize that that isn't coincidence, that you are more powerful than you think, and there
Right.
is a way to do this,
Yes.
then
Actual
you,
steps.
there, well, and that's the
You
thing.
know,
It's really the transmutation of radiant energy.
it is
And
absolutely.
that's what I figured out. And that's what over 500 people over 65 business quarters followed the process. And they all achieved their goal. And it wasn't just Think and Grow Rich, it's universal law and quantum physics and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But they all now know the process, that you start without knowing how. That
Yes.
you've never done it before or you failed at it. But there's something compelling
Yeah.
about it that is so intense that it must outweigh your fear. And don't let fear stop you. In fact, as soon as you get the idea, take two steps, because
Yes.
somehow those
Don't.
first two steps, right, they kind of hush
Yeah.
the the voice that says, who do you think you are? Well, you've failed at stuff like this. Why do you think you're the one? And that's because throughout our lives, we've been criticized, we've failed many times, right? And so now the way that you disprove the fear is by fully achieving the thing you didn't know how to do.
Yeah.
So not only is it revealing of your ability to do pretty much anything outrageous, but also your deservability. And
Yeah.
so that's how you actually outweigh the fears and you fill your subconscious with faith in
Yes.
yourself,
Yes.
right? So that's kind of how I look at it.
No, I do too. And I think that, you know, there, gosh, there's so much there.
Yeah,
We
there's a
could do a
lot.
whole series of lives.
I know.
So, oh my gosh, okay. We've got about 2.5 minutes left. Wanted to make sure that we talked about everything that you're doing. And I know that you have book number 2, right, that you said earlier. So just kind of want to remind everybody book number 2 is going to be on its way this year.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's about a third to a half finished right now, and it's going to be more complex. And let me tell you, I put the last episode of the first book at the front of this book
Nice. I
so
love
that
that
you,
you did that.
right? So that you, because I was thinking, well, gosh, when the second book comes out, people are going to have to go back and read the first book to catch
Yes.
up, but they really won't have to because in the 12th
Oh yeah.
episode, right, it kind of ties everything
Everything.
together. And so then you can start right away and you're already caught up.
Brilliant. That's the brilliance that
Yeah.
Nick's helping to guide, right? I love it.
Yes. Yes.
It's so beautiful. Um, and I love when we can have the content, the intention, the context, and the container all right in alignment in that way. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or say to the audience, or anything else that you have going on? And then after Nick, I'll let you do the same.
I want to thank you for this opportunity and Nicole for taking on this very fun 3-week launch. This was more about having a good time, and people have been waiting for the audiobook. So I'm grateful to you for doing this and to everyone who's here and who will listen, who's been on the journey with me. I I can tell you that at this point in my life, everything is fun. I do things that are fun and I don't work very hard. I do the things I love doing, and I have this tight little core of people that are always have my back, and plus my family. So life is good. I've been blessed, and I intend to continue blessing everybody that comes to my lives and listens to different ways of thinking about things that really open up possibilities for everybody. Yeah. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
so welcome. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you here, and to know you. And like I said in the beginning, to have co authored with you once. And
Yes.
I have a feeling that that's not the last time that that's going to happen. And it's just been really beautiful, though, in this process in the last few weeks to really get to know you a little bit better just from your media circle that you've made, which is so exciting and so much fun. And Nick, for you, this is something that's really beautiful and part of what you have created coming into fruition. And this is alignment. This is magnetic. This is magnetic business, right? This is how we bring all of the areas of our life together in wholeness, in the sense that what we're nurturing, seeds, plants, waters, grows, comes back, right? And it's getting into, it's like most, I think, we spend so much of our life walking right in the rut, And then we just needed the one little step over to
That's right.
be actually in the flow. And it's so beautiful to see you there and to see both of you there. So also for you, and is there anything that you would like to add to the audience, or what other projects do you have going on that you can talk about? And
Um, I just continue to fly by the seat of my pants. I'm loving the journey. I feel right now that I'm speeding down a highway, and there are certain individuals who've been with me on my journey from the beginning, and certain who have joined recently. But the faster that I go, um, those that are not meant to be sitting in shotgun with me aren't. And my shotgun seat doesn't hold just one. And these people are holding on for dear life, laughing with me with the music bumping. And we're, holding on to each other as we veer down uh, the wrong paths on the highway, but we circle and we come back. And with each experience, I'm learning and growing so much more. But a lot of it is having a fantastic community, and then as Leslie said, that more close knit circle. Which, incidentally, my circle is not that small.
Right.
um,
Mine is.
I actually have, like
You do.
at least a dozen people on speed dial that
mm,
in a moment's breath at 2 a.m. will pick up the phone.
Hmm.
And I don't say that in a bragging way, but in a I invested in our relationships way, and that they have the same in me. You two aren't there. So, um, and yeah, I love that. I could want to take people on my journey with me, but they have to be willing passengers,
yeah,
right?
Hmm.
And like you say, there will be naysayers, and the only thing I have to say to anybody that it's a naysayer is that I hope you take the bit of energy you are directing toward anyone else's dreams and telling them they're unachievable, um, and double that energy into figuring out what your own purpose and dream is and working towards achieving it. Even the people that you may naysay to actually want what's the best for you, which is only you can figure out. We want you to be happy too.
I
And
love
that's the truth. When you've reached a certain place in your happiness, you want nothing but happiness for everyone else.
That's right.
And those who aren't happy for you, you don't pity them. You just you hope that they would have what you have one day.
yeah. You
That's
be smart.
really feel.
Yeah, keep them at a distance, right? You don't have to allow yourself to be injured or hurt in any way, but you don't have to close
No.
off your heart. You don't have to close off your heart for them, right? You know that that's saying, when somebody is naysaying, it's because they don't believe in themselves. There's fear, there's pain, right? All of those things. And you do come to this place where you do know that, and you are able to still want what is best, the best and the highest for
Yeah.
them. Like one of the things I say continuously, right, is the best and highest for others and myself, right? Because you can't forget to put ourselves in there. I love that you put yourself in the relationships that you have built because you built them. And for each one of us in the universe that we have created, we are the center of it. And what you have and what you are experiencing is what you are creating and co-creating. So it's really important
Appreciate it.
to know that. And I think that it's really beautiful.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
Thank you both so much for being here. Thank you all for hanging on just a few minutes over. And I'm going to put you all both down. And if you have time, you can stay in the green room. If not, go on about your evening and your weekend. I know that you guys have another show to get to. So it's fine. Thank you both. And I love you. And I mean that. And I'm
Thank
going
you.
to put you both down. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Thank you all in the audience for hanging around. And for this last few minutes, I also just wanted to share a little bit and a reminder that this is the very last episode of Polished. Um, Same place, same time. Actually, not the same place, same time on Fridays at the same time. I'm just pivoting and transitioning into something that is bigger, something that's different, something that's more multifaceted than what it is, and that I'm doing here. I will be sharing what I'm doing, and I'll be making events on LinkedIn for everyone to know what's happening, but I will not be streaming to LinkedIn. I'm asking for you all to follow me to YouTube, and I'm asking for that support because YouTube is monetizable and LinkedIn is not in the same way. Right. And so that's why I'm moving. When I come into a social place, I go deep, I go wide, and then I move and I shift and I go deep and I go wide. And that's how I have grown my communities across all of the socials. Because it's important to me that I have relationships. What we're doing is about relationships, and it's about experiences, and it's about movement and lifting one another up and sitting down when somebody needs you to, right? It's all of those things. And so thank you for all of your support. Thank you for your presence always. I want to say thank you. And I know that I'm going to miss some, but I've had some of the most outstanding, fabulous guests of Nick, King of Vida, Chasen Forehand, Matt Allen, Marty Smith, Lauren. So sorry, I can't think of your last name right now. Tracy Borreson. I've had amazing guests with amazing stories, and I want to be able to bring more of that in. And also, I'm bringing in more laughter, right? And I'll be releasing a trailer. I think it's set for 9 o'clock Central to go off and play on its own. So you'll know a little bit about what's coming. But I'll throw in the pieces, right? The journey, make us who we are. And to me, that means that's steampunk. To me, we're in this place of moving into the end of the industrial, right? Revolution is no longer, we're seeing that crumble. We're moving into this age of imagination. We had the age of information, now imagination, and past that is innovation. And so we're circling out here, and we're building frames, and we're building the world how it is that we want it to be as the people. So the largest, biggest truth, then maybe it's a hard truth to hear, that we've talked about a lot today, is collectively and individually, we have created the world that we are living in. But collectively and individually, we can also change it. So thank you all for your presence. Thank you for your consciousness. Thank you for your devotion to doing on this planet what you know that you came here to do. You're also very phenomenal, and I love each and every one of you as well. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you in a couple of weeks for Engine to Heart. Thank you. Bye.